Hey Jonas Bonus Gang, what you're about to see is a very interesting case study of how feature creep happens in indie game projects. All of the following clips were taken from Ludum Dare 48. I participated with Blackthornprod and Yän. What you're about to see is how the scope of our project got completely out of control without us even noticing. Very interesting stuff and surprisingly educational. Says a lot about the game dev process. Hope you enjoy. What I like about the bottom one, in defense of the bottom one, is that I would be very interested in seeing what we can... Like, what happens if we go for a very simple, very safe idea and just try to make it as good as possible. That also sounds interesting to me.
That is what makes me want to do it, that it has just this simple duality between the small farm and the big farm, and that it's so easy to make the base of it that we can just focus on polishing. I think that's why the bottom one has some pull for me. Like, what is sort of like the dramatic arc of this thing? Like, how does it get more complex over time? What are the situations that you come across on your way? What happens at the end?
I've got an idea of one monster in this game that could be really cool. Is have a giant fish with teeth like that there.
You also see a couple of fish that look like you and swim in the same direction. That kind of gives you some idea of where to go. Then maybe some of them get eaten in front of your eyes and...
Oh yeah, that adds some tension, I think.
Yeah. Like that, yeah.
If there's in the beginning some dialogue with the...
Dialogue?
Yeah, just like some simple text boxes, or even voice acting with the different fish.
I like voice acting more because it's easier to implement.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to go down there. See you at the bottom. You just hear someone screaming off screen, and
Or it will have tentacle-like monsters. That would look cool.
Basically, you're not fighting against other fish, but you're fighting against human structures, as you said, and different human kinds of traps and that.
I feel like that could definitely help to differentiate it in a setting sense as well. If we have like strange looking underwater human bases that have radar and shoot missiles, and then the deeper you go, the more you reach the secret human. Yän, maybe we can try to concept in a way where it's a little scalable. So basically we could assign priorities to sections of the levels that we can leave out if we don't have the time to do them. I guess I'll do a little bit of planning with Yän then probably.
That's probably a good idea, so that we have some mechanics and some interactions.
By the way, one thing we forgot to talk about earlier is what happens when you lose, because I feel like we need checkpoints.
Yeah, for sure. I would put frequent checkpoints.
But how do we do checkpoints in a game where the level keeps changing? So basically the boss fight, the second half of the boss fight is inside of the boss, or how would that look?
Yeah, it would be inside, exactly.
What if you have to go through some giant seaweed?
Yeah.
And you go in together, but then when you come out, you're alone.
In terms of story, we are thinking that you have a companion.
Excellent.
Another idea that I had then, swimming into the turtle mouth. I just think that's kind of cool, and then you can escape by exploding its belly. Pretty big open space where there's lots of really weird deep sea creatures, and we could do it that the first deep sea creature you see kind of eats one of your friends.
When you blow up next to it, it should be destroyed by the shockwave. I think that was the idea, right?
I think, this might just be my opinion, that we should actually make a whole a world set in the sky as well.
You should be able to destroy terrain by just ramming into it with the big farm too, right?
Yeah, so basically the easy walls can be destroyed by everything, and then maybe there are some more stable walls that you need to ram into. Or what was your...
There'll definitely be your little vegetation things on the actual terrain pieces. I'm gonna add little flocks of fish.
Yeah, and what is this here? Ah, that's a submarine, right?
Yeah, that's supposed to be a submarine, and it has all those mines at the bottom. Yeah, the plan here was to have some enemy spawners. that just always spawn a certain amount of enemies up until there is a certain amount. So that's pretty
I mean, maybe we'll probably come up with a few more things when we actually build the level and stuff.
Do you think we could do a thing to zoom out and zoom in the camera based on entering a trigger zone?
So are we forcing the players to hear all this dialogue?
Would be nice if we could skip lines.
Really good dialogue. I mean, it's good. I'm just concerned that this is a very ambitious adventure right now.
Yeah.
There's tons. There's so much to do.
Yeah. Also, I would really love to have a very fast version of the chaser enemy, because that would allow us to do a section where you have to stay in your big form to be safe. You can catapult yourself really far out of the water. That's kind of a cool moment as well. Yeah, problem is that this is more for later in the game moment and not a tutorial moment.
Yeah, and later in the game. I mean, we could technically rewrite above water thing to not use a height but to use triggers. And then you could also have some underwater places that have a water surface again.
Okay, I'm wondering if I should also create some triggers that change the default facial expression of the fish, because at the moment the default is happy.
I feel like when the dialogue plays, there should maybe be a little text bubble atop the fish that's talking. Or I suggest there's like some sort of obstacle that gets destroyed as soon as the boss is dead. So that's good, yeah. Okay, an Easter egg. We make one art asset, which is an Easter egg. I think we should make a little secret room which has an Easter egg art assets from Jonas, Liam, and Yän getting this underwater world up and running. I must say it wasn't the simplest idea after all.
No, actually not. Crazy.
It's a pretty ambitious thing to do, it turns out, even if it's a small adventure.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to create another deep sea creature.
I think we overscoped big time.
Alright, so as you see here, I'm placing these sort of objects on the edges of the terrain. It's going to be tight, I think. We're really going to be able to finish this last minute.
Man,
I hope.
I thought we had a very reasonable scope this time, but somehow it got really out of control again. I'm not sure how that happened.
It's just good. I think we thought small adventure equals just not much work to do for some reason. But in fact, yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that we
case.
don't have a lot of reusable stuff. Usually when you make different kinds of games, you have just a lot of reusable content, and in this one, I guess the idea is pretty simple, but we have to make so much custom stuff to make everything work. That's so...
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, not easy.
It's
not
not a
easy.
very system-based game.
Yeah,
Story-based
exactly.
And,
Exactly.
linear game.
A content-based games. We have to build a lot of content. Yeah.
That's
if you don't have it, it's boring.
Or just way too short. Like 5 seconds.
Yeah, but I guess that's another lesson for the next game jam, at least, that be wary of content-heavy games.
Story games.
And then in the end, performance will be a problem as well. I can already see it coming.
Yeah, I think next we need a way to remove the friend fish when you enter some trigger in the vine corridor.
Yeah, we need that, and we also need it also still needs to rotate correctly to do that as well.
Ah, okay, yeah, of course. That so basically like the player, right?
Yeah, so there you have it. This is how feature creep happens, and if you want to try out the full game, the link to that should be in the description. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.